everyone, and just check on YouTube. We're live.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to this afternoon's virtual joint employee council hosted by Bassetlaw District Council, and apologies for the IT gremlins that have caused the delay. Following the outbreak of COVID-19, new legislation was approved to enable councils to host virtual meetings rather than requiring members to be present in the committee chamber when making a decision. This keeps everyone safe by maintaining social distancing and allows business to be conducted in an appropriate manner. It's very important that councillors can hear each other, so I will invite members to introduce themselves and in doing so test their broadband connection. So councillors first, Councillor Cliff Entwistle.
Good afternoon, Keith, present.
Good afternoon, thank you. Councillor June Evans, who's Vice Chair of the committee.
Here, Chair.
Councillor David Pidwell.
Yeah, here, Chair.
Councillor Mike Quigley, I think may not be here. I think he said he was going to be late.
No. Yeah, that's correct, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Joan Sanger.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Joe White.
Hi, present, Chair.
Thank you. There are a number of employee representatives present. I'm Keith Circuit and I'm chair of the committee. Mel Bassett.
Present, Chair.
Philip Lee.
Yeah, I'm here, Chairman.
Russell Parr.
Yeah, hi, Keith.
Trudy Walstow.
Yeah, present, Chair.
And Jim Worley.
Hey, Keith. Here, Chair.
Thank you. We have also a number of officers in attendance with Karen Childs, Head of People and Culture.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon. Ellen Hinsley, who's the meeting facilitator.
Present, Chair.
And James Lavender, the committee clerk.
Present, Chair, thank you.
Thank you and welcome everybody. If a number of members lose connection and the meeting becomes inquorate or the live streaming for public viewing fails, I will adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes to allow connection to be re-established. Given this is a virtual meeting, there is no corporate responsibility to detail a fire procedure. However, I would like to highlight that this committee is being live streamed on social media, so all participants please be aware of your actions and take appropriate safety precautions from your place of live streaming. Members, please remember to switch off your microphones when not speaking. So we move on to the agenda. Agenda item number 1 is apologies. Do we have any apologies, please?
We have apologies from Councillor Quigley, who, as previously mentioned, might be late in attending and will attend if he can. And we have apologies from Jean Common.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2 is to receive the declarations of interest by members and officers. Are there any declarations of interest?
We've not received any declarations of interest.
Thank you, James. If during the meeting a member realises they have an interest, would you please disclose this as soon as possible and we'll take the appropriate action. Agenda item number 3 is minutes of the meeting held on 7th of October 2020, which is on pages 5 to 6 of your agenda. Do all members agree that they represent an accurate record? Does anyone wish to vote against or abstain from this voting? Right, I will take that as a no. So the minutes of the last meeting are approved and we'll take the necessary action with that. Thank you. Agenda item number 4 is minutes for action and implementation list, which is on pages 7 to 8 of your agenda. And There is just one, which is agency working, which is on today's agenda, so we'll deal with that later. Agenda item number 5 is outstanding minutes list, which is pages 9 to 10 of your agenda, and there are none. So we'll move on to agenda item 6A, which is the People Strategy and Action Plan, pages 11 to 24 of your agenda. So could I ask you, Karen, to present this item, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this report is for the purpose of presenting a draft people strategy and the associated action plan that goes along with it to members of the Joint Employee Council, and to invite comment as part of the consultation process. And the background to this is in the last 10 months, the council staff have responded to an unprecedented situation, as have all other organisations, arising from the coronavirus pandemic. This has led to significant change in the way that services have been delivered, and there have been changed demands placed upon the council during this time. So many staff have been working remotely, and have responded positively to those temporary arrangements. And we've also undertaken 2 staff surveys, which were designed to ascertain the impact of the changes on staff. In light of the feedback from those surveys and other feedback obtained through various communication mechanisms which are outlined in the People Strategy, the Council has the opportunity to consider future working arrangements, taking into account that staff have viewed the flexibility associated with remote working positively where that's possible. What the People Strategy does is recognise that there are ways and opportunities that we can work differently, but that represents a significant change agenda for staff. And therefore, it's important that through any change process that there is an increased focus on employee well-being, and that forms the sort of underpinning really of the People Strategy. And so you'll see that in the actions that are contained within it. So on page 12, the top of page 12 of your document, you'll see that there are 8 aspirations that we want to work towards with staff, for staff to feel, for example, that the council cares about their mental and physical health and well-being, and they're encouraged and supported to develop and maintain a healthy lifestyle. So there's a focus there on physical and mental health. Also that staff feel valued, that they have a voice and are listened to. They feel empowered and trusted. They're clear about their role and how that relates to the council's priorities. And some of that has come out of some check-ins that we conducted with staff to make sure that people were feeling okay mentally and physically, and if they weren't, that they had the opportunity to voice that. And some staff said that they were unclear about where the organisation was going as a result of all the changes. So it's important that we focus on that. The 5th one is that employees have the support of the organisation to work flexibly according to the job role so that they can excel in delivering services but maintain a good work-life balance. Now, we've always aspired to do that, but I think that the recent experience of remote working has created greater opportunities for us to move further forward in that direction. The 6th one, all staff value each other's contributions to processes which are understood, transparent and effective. And this one is about conducting process reviews to make sure that we eliminate waste from our processes and free people up to do more value-added activities, but also that we look at our processes from the customer's perspective and understand what's of value to our customers so that we can then make sure that we're delivering against that effectively. The 7th one, employees are given opportunities to learn and develop existing and new skills that improve opportunities for progression and career development. and that's linked to the final one, development conversations inform future workforce planning. So that's making sure that staff do have the opportunity to develop and excel, and that we link that to the council's priorities for future service delivery. So this people strategy builds upon the priorities that were established in the pay and grading review. There were 3 of those. The first one, quite obviously, was equal pay, but that was also coupled with a good work-life balance for staff and health and well-being focus. So this agenda takes that focus on health and well-being and work-life balance further. We've addressed the financial aspects of well-being through the pay and grading review, which involved quite a significant additional investment in staff financially, and we now want to look at other aspects of well-being. You'll see in the papers that there is an action plan. This is intended to be a 5-year plan. However, it's also intended to be a dynamic one, which is reviewed each year. And during that year, we will have consulted and communicated with staff to understand, going back to those 8 aspirations, what is important for them to have in the workplace for those to be realised. And then that will inform the development of the action plan for the following year. So you'll see that most of the actions in the action plan at the moment are within the now section, which is intended to be within the first year. There are some ideas for future years, and they will be shaped and informed by feedback from staff and trade unions. So I think that's probably it in terms of my initial presentation of this People Strategy and Action Plan, and I would invite members of the JEC to comment on it prior to it being finalised and reported to Cabinet for approval, which hopefully will be in February. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Now, members will now be offered the opportunity to ask questions or make comments, and I will move around them in the same order I did initially. And then if there are any further comments or questions from employee reps, we'll come to that shortly. So first of all, Councillor Entwistle.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. Yeah, psychologically, for people that work for the council to know that this is being put in place, there's got to be a massive bonus to start with on its own.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. Councillor Evans. Sorry, before I come to Councillor Evans, sorry, do you wish to make any comment, Karen, regarding Councillor Entwistle's positive comment?
I agree. I hope that staff will see this as a very positive move, and also the fact that they're going to be able to contribute ideas and suggestions for future actions.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll come back to you now, Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I agree. It is a very positive step. What I believe to be key to the success of this is the consultation, ongoing consultation with staff. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any comments from that, Karen? It's still very positive.
No, just agreement from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pidwell.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I mean, I'd endorse the earlier comments of Councillor Entwistle. I think it was a good initiative and, you know, a good use of a unique opportunity, or well, let's hope it's unique. But, you know, we made good use of what was forced upon us because of coronavirus. I just wanted to just sort of ask a question really about equality. I noticed that on page 20, under the paragraph headed equality, that there's a reference to the 9 characteristics. And so that took me back then to page 19 and the support and information that's already in place for staff. And apart from the transgender policy and procedure, I couldn't see anything that sort of focused on equality. Do we have an equal opportunities policy or anti-discriminatory policy or something like that?
Karen, would you like to comment on Councillor Pidwell's question, please?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that's a very good point. I think we need to include that in the list. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. It is. Councillor Sanger.
Mr. Chairman, just more ways to show us that we're a caring council. There are lots of things, you know, that staff should be reassured by, and you know, I'm very pleased to see this, and thank you to all who've undertaken it.
Thank you. Councillor White.
Thank you. We've just gone through the pay and grading review exercise, which was a period of upheaval for all staff. And then as soon as we got through that, we had COVID, which has placed all sorts of pressures, whether private or personal or within the workplace, on many officers of staff. Many have gone beyond the call of duty, and we should all be grateful for them doing that, because that's not just helped keep the council functioning, but it's continue to provide an excellent service to our communities. And so I think it's essential, it's excellent actually that we're going forward with a strategy that values our staff. I think it's so important that we give recognition to the work and their ethos and the way people work together, and also the well-being of people who work here. It's so important, and having a strategy in place means that we have a check that we are working with people to achieve the values that we hold. So I'm really pleased that this is coming forward now. I am happy that we are going to be reviewing it on an annual basis, because you can put a policy or a strategy in place and then just forget about it and you say, we tick that box. And so it's excellent that there will be an annual review, and there are 8 points that we're working on and working towards, so that hopefully staff as we move forward will continue to feel valued. And I'm very pleased that we are looking outwards as well, how we provide the services to the public, so we are responsive, and that's very much part of our ethos.
Thank you very much for the positive comments. Karen, would you like to comment any further on those comments before I move to the employee reps?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So on the employee reps, I'll do them in alphabetical order. So Mel Bassett.
Now I've got no comments. Just it's a big project. It has been ongoing for a while, but it looks like we're getting there, and hopefully that's involved, which is what we needed for it to be a positive thing.
Thanks, Mel. That feed was pretty bad, but I know you think this is positive because I've worked with you on the group that's discussed it. So thanks for that. Russell Parr.
Sorry, guys, I'll remember to flick my microphone on. Thanks, Keith. I think it's important to ensure that other council policies also reflect and support the positivity of this new way of delivering services. And my main thoughts are with the flexi-time policy. Now, I'm aware that policy is currently suspended, but I am concerned that in previous discussions, consultations and discussions, we spoke of narrowing the flexi-time bandwidth, and I don't think that really reflects the new way that services are being delivered at the minute. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. Would you like to comment on that, Karen, please, before we move further?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think, to be honest, COVID has thrown what we considered previously to be important in the review of the Flexi scheme up in the air a little bit, and we need to re-examine it and think about what's going to work best for the council and its staff moving forwards in the future with different ways of working. So in some respects, I'm pleased that we didn't get to the end of the review of the Flexi scheme, because it's given us an opportunity now to basically start again with it and think about what that should look like in the new world of work that we're going to have.
Thank you, Karen. Are you okay with that, Russ?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that is a priority that we will hopefully be working on shortly. Sorry, Philip, I got you out of alphabetical order there wrongly. So Philip Lee?
Don't matter about that, Chairman. Yeah, I think we've had meetings with it, and as what was said, it's very positive and it's very futuristic. So it's a good thing going. Thanks.
Thank you. Trudy Walstow?
Nothing to add that's not already been said, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jim Worley?
Yeah, I really agree with the comments which have already been made, and I was glad to see that the stress policy is up for review, which has been on our to-do list for a while.
Thanks, Jim. My comments. Thanks very much to Karen and her team for coming up with this. I think it is, as everybody's alluded to, very, very positive. It's something that I think the council's needed for quite a long time. And I know there's been a tremendous amount of work put into this before it came to the trade unions. And we've had a few meetings to discuss it. I don't want to be the one that puts a damper on this, because I really don't want to do that. But the one concern I have is that, as positive as this is, I think the council's got to take the staff with them positively on this. And I just at the back of my mind have a concern that during the last 9 months, and at least for the next 2, people will be going the extra yard, the extra mile, and I think that needs to be recognised, and there needs to be some sort of recognition there, because what we don't want is for members of staff to turn around and say, well, it's only a paper exercise, they're not really bothered about us. It needs to be positive and sold as a very, very positive document, because after all, that's what it is. So I'm positive about it. I think it's very good, and I think it needs to be just put over to the remainder of staff in the correct way, with as much praise for them as can possibly be given. So thank you, and back to you, Karen, for your final comments.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to mention, because the trade unions have raised with me the idea of staff recognition and whether there's anything that's appropriate for the council to do. And that discussions have taken place both with the leader and deputy leader and management team. And a proposal is going to be put to Cabinet in February for an additional day's leave to be issued to staff in the next leave year, not the current one, because of the difficulties that we've had in trying to ensure staff can take all of their leave this year. But next year, when hopefully people will be able to make better use of their leave, fingers crossed, but also giving people the opportunity to just take a bit of extra time out for themselves. We may choose to link it to, the need to maintain good mental health and have breaks from work regularly. I think that's very important, and I know that the leadership and the management team are very appreciative of everything that staff have done and continue to do, and that they wanted to be able to recognise it in some way. So that's not in yet, but it will go to Cabinet in February.
Right, thank you very much for that, Karen, and thanks to the management team and leadership and you're here, Councillor White, as Deputy Leader, so thank you very, very much. I think something like that was, in my opinion, needed, but it didn't have to be done. So it's a great thanks from me, and I'm sure all our branch and fellow trade union members here.
Chair, sorry to interrupt. Councillor White raised a hand.
Councillor White. Sorry. Yeah, over to you, Councillor White. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to agree with Karen and yourself, actually, Keith, that we need to have a way of saying thank you and valuing the work that people have done in these past 10 months and ongoing, because nobody expected this, and I know that many people have gone beyond the call of duty, and it has to be recognised, and we need to show a way of saying thank you, and it's something we have to have, something that everybody benefits from. So I think proposing an additional day off next year, once this is all over, is the best way to proceed, so everybody feels the benefit of us saying thank you. And I hope that we can also say it in other ways, but it is really, really appreciated by all the councillors, not just the leadership, and I know also by the management team. And so that hopefully that additional day off is regarded as our way of saying that thank you.
I'm sure it will be. Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone else on the council too for supporting that. And I do think that next leave year is the right time. We don't want to do it this year and just cause further problems with people trying to take leave. So I think that's done very, very well, and let's hope it goes through cabinet in February. Thank you very much. If there are no further comments, we'll move on to the recommendation on page 13, which is that the Joint Employee Council notes the information contained within the report and the appendices attached, and approves option 1 above, which is to receive and comment upon the attached, which we've done. And there's no recommendation to send this plan anywhere else. So thanks for all your comments. We'll move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 7 in section B, items for discussion in private. The live stream will be stopped shortly, and we'll move on to the confidential items. I'd like to thank anyone who's been watching the live stream meeting. Thanks very much, and stay safe.